The Metal Gear Solid series has been around for almost 40 years now, and it is one of the most amazing series. As you know, I dedicated this channel to it. But today we're going to talk about some very important things that I think a lot of people don't realize. And it's going to be fun to talk about the series, Hideo Kojima, the current state of things, and the future. There's an elephant in the room that we just got revealed to, and it's pretty fun and exciting, and got a lot of information to kind of share. We're going to start off by talking about the series, and as you guys know, this is my favorite series, but there's reasons for it. A lot of things about this game is, of course, really cool gameplay, some funny always material inside of there. There's always these deep messages. There's these heavy duty themes and concepts that basically are all designed within the gameplay for the players to experience something very important, a message that Kojima wants to convey and put the players through this true experience as gamers. And throughout the years, it has evolved and continued to develop. And if you didn't know, I studied Kojima. For years, I would watch him post something about a book he's reading. He'll just post about things that are related that inspired him to make whichever game it was that he was making at the time. And then you can go and read that book and learn more about the themes and concepts. And the same thing with his music and movies and everything that he watches, he uses as inspiration. And so he shared this throughout the years, and it made it a very exciting waiting 3 years for the next iteration of a Metal Gear game, where he implemented a lot of those concepts into the games, whether it's a visual cutscene, whether it's a gameplay mechanic, whether it's a message or story element, all of it ties together for that creative space. And I love that about Kojima. And the reason I want to bring Kojima up and give him his flowers is because I do believe he's the greatest creator we've gotten, not only in movies, TV shows, music, but in general in the media space, because he uses all those tools to put it into a video game and does amazing. He does some of the best work you'll ever see if you experience the games. That being said, he didn't get there by himself. The truth is, he gets all the credit and praise, and then Konami gets basically all the blame for all the negative things. Funny enough, I've gotten to meet a lot of the staff for Hideo Kojima and for Konami throughout all these years, and hanging out with them, having dinner with them, texting them, calling them, emailing them, social media, posting with them, and got to sit down and have discussions about things, whether it was ideas that we might love and we think that it was Kojima who made it, and really it was actually Konami staff who came up with the ideas, or who worked on these cinematics, or worked on gameplay mechanic ideas that weren't there originally. And sometimes those people, those employees, saved Kojima from bad ideas. And there's long list of them online if you want to look them up. All of the ideas that Kojima tried to implement and that were denied by the programmers, and staff. And that being said, it's always been interesting to see the dynamic and development of 100 plus staff members working together to make these games. So for me, it's been a blast to kind of see behind closed doors some of the stuff. With that in mind, one of the craziest things that Konami has done, and that is confirmed by Hideo Kojima, was say, hey, we're going to give you full creative control, and we're going to provide you with all the resources you need. We're going to pay for anything and everything you desire. Get creative, have fun with it, make it special. And Kojima himself, for multiple years after breaking up with them in 2015, has expressed that he's forever grateful to Konami for allowing him to be able to do that, and to be able to see, something special and do whatever he wanted at all times And that's what allowed him to become what he's become. And to me, that was an amazing reveal, because a lot of us were hurt when they broke up, and it was devastating. For those that don't know, in 2015, Kojima left Konami. He was an independent contractor anyways, but he left and started his own studio. And regardless of what rumor and story you might have heard, Kojima really wanted to move on in his own way. And he's done that. And he moved on very quickly. Within 2 months of him leaving Konami, he already announced his new studio and started working on things. So it was pretty crazy in how fast things moved, and he was prepared basically to go forward. But he gave you 30 years of Metal Gear. He gave you everything you're seeing on screen, which was phenomenal in my opinion. And I'm grateful for that. I was hurt during the time of his departure and everything that happened and all the nonsense. But the truth was, he himself was already healing and said how grateful he was publicly, multiple interviews, randomly, not even being asked about Konami, and he'll just bring them up. And I thought that was actually extremely important to kind of take note and realize, wow, he's officially at a great place and he's happy what he's doing, and that's great for him. And that leaves us to the current day. Well, close to the current day, Kojima releases a game called Death Stranding. To me, it was a masterpiece, but then it didn't do as well as you would assume a Kojima game would do. He acknowledges that there are things that were missing and that he wants to re-implement. And on the director's cut, if you ever played Death Stranding, you'll know that he started implementing Metal Gear style mission. There's one specific mission where you infiltrate an enemy base and you have to sneak in. There's even a box in there, and there's a bunch of other little references to Metal Gear where he's like, I get it. You guys love what I used to do, and that is the best version of myself. And so he kind of brought it back on that director's cut, if you ever played it. No spoilers, of course, but I would recommend it. Try it out. And it's a pretty easy mission to get to, straightforward. But that being said, for Death Stranding 2, which has been announced, and we have a release date in this video, even though it is about Death Stranding, it's more so about Kojima and diving into his work and who he is and all of that good stuff. Okay, so the thing with Death Stranding, and that I want to kind of point out, is Death Stranding is absolutely, part 2 is going to be Kojima back at his best form, where he does have infiltration, where he does have some action, and the espionage part of the game for Death Stranding is officially upon us. And it is amazing. He wanted to revolutionize gaming and not have that type of thing, but he realized, hey, I gotta go to it. And so he changed, to me, the plot of what's going to be happening in Death Stranding, and you're going to be seeing that as you go. And so, all that being said, this is one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about, was Metal Gear. Kojima has always put himself in these games, literally, physically put himself, whether it's a picture of himself, whether it's a character you have to rescue or who's helping you out in some way. Like, he's put himself in the Metal Gear franchise, and that's Konami's choice, allowing him to do so. They didn't have to. And if you look at the industry, there's not a lot of directors who are allowed to do these kind of things creatively. I mean, right now we have Alan Wake, director, who does that, and there's a couple of others, but it's very rare. Most directors will leave themselves out of it, and some will think that that's actually a little too quirky and corny or something, but I disagree. I think that if you do it properly, it could be amazing and entertaining and interesting, and a flex to say, hey, I'm the real deal. And so Kojima was given that privilege. And this is where I wanted to stress that, because what happens to us, for the next topic that I'm going to bring out, the elephant in the room, in a minute, what happens is we'll say, Man, Kojima needs to go and make Metal Gear. Kojima's was Metal Gear, and he's the only thing that matters in Metal Gear. And we'll have this thought process, myself included. Don't get it twisted. But the truth is, no. Konami has had a great run of making games before Kojima even existed, and they've done a good job before that. Back in the 80s, they were the kings of video games. And then, Kojima came along and they really helped him develop. And so for me, I think it's interesting. And so I want to kind of just touch on this right away. I'm going to show you something. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. This, my friends, is the biggest, craziest, unbelievable reveal that we're going to get. And this is Death Stranding 2's trailer officially announcing its release date, and it has a lot of Metal Gear references. And this video is about Death Stranding 2, but I wanted to start off by introducing Kojima. And so you're seeing here the Metal Gear head, pretty much. Kojima is leaning into his legacy by putting that into this game. And then on top of it, you see basically Snake, okay? Every game can have a bandana, but nobody but Kojima can do it where it will hype up a full Metal Gear community. And this right here is like extreme because it does reference a lot of different things. And the reason I stress that is even the Skullface situation where we had Skullface, who was supposed to be Snake's cleanup guy, right? And you have this as a symbol of all of that. Solid Snake, Naked Snake, Skullface, and the series of like, oh, Skull and Bones now without me. There's so many layers that you can take this and interpret it in whatever fashion you feel you want to have fun, kind of poking fun at this like the way Kojima does. Some people were saying there's going to be legal issues for them trying to use Metal Gear all the time. And it's like a lot of video games reference other video games. They always have like homage. And I don't consider that a bad thing. So while I get it, I don't agree with that sentiment. And I think it's very cool for Kojima to show his legacy to the Death Stranding fans and say, damn, this looks fun. Let's say you never played Metal Gear and you're like, this is amazing. Looks very cool. Guy with a bandana, bunch of skeleton, fiery soldiers, just fireworks, which is kind of crazy. But that's okay. We're going to go on this battlefield and see what happens. And so for me, this is spectacular. And this is next level, in my opinion, for Death Stranding to basically say, hey, yeah, we're playing Kojima's legacy. Okay? He can put anything into these games. Now, legally, he should be careful, of course. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm trying to talk about, for example, that is a Metal Gear head. If I ever seen one, my logo is a Metal Gear head. I would know what a Metal Gear logo looks like. The person who made it for me, we worked hard on that logo. And this is one of the most meaningful things in the Metal Gear series that is ridiculously important. And so for Kojima to just say, hey man, this is who I am. This game is gonna have Metal Gear stuff in it. We're not gonna lean back. For Death Stranding, I believe he wanted to be very different and escape from what he's used to doing, stealth, espionage, action type of games for Metal Gear. And now he's coming back to it. He has to. This is going to be probably one of the biggest, most popular games ever. If I know Kojima well, that can be outrageously cool. And so now I'm going to go through the story a little bit, the full trailer here, and just kind of give you guys a little bit of breakdown on Death Stranding, because this is my Metal Gear channel, but I want to kind of discuss what Kojima is doing on his own. So with Death Stranding, Kojima in the part 1, he had a side story of a character. And this is the new character that we'll get storyline from. And you get to see some of his life, him and his girlfriend, He confesses something terrible that he's been doing, but it connects with the overall plot of the playable character. And so we're going to see it unfold throughout throughout the game, just like we did from part 1. And what's crazy is in this character here, he looks like he's living a normal life. But of course, we see at the end of the trailer, he has superpowers because he's literally working with skulls and doing all that crazy stuff. Plus, he put on the bandana. That's enough superpowers. Infinite ammo, baby. And so for me, this guy's super interesting. And how does he tie into the universe? Well, he's transporting pregnant women who are brain dead. And these pregnant women are carrying these babies that you're seeing, which have superpowers, basically. Think of the baby as a superpower. If you tap into it, you're able to go into another, let's say, dimension and see what's going on. So that's why Sam has always walked around with a baby. It looks a little crazy, but it's a part of the lore and the story of the game, and it is very much outrageous. But both dimensions, the Earth and the supernatural disaster called Death Stranding, has happened, and now they've changed everything. So they have deliveries happen automatically by machines, and then they have this portal between both those worlds. There's a lot of craziness that I'm not going to explain in this video. This is a Metal Gear focus channel. But the fact that you're starting to see the references of Metal Gear, whether it's the head that you see from that ship, whether it's a lot of little visual details from the characters, head nods to the Metal Gear series throughout this, whether you want to accept it or not, it's very real. The Metal Gear fans, have the giant elephant in the room, as I'm saying, of Kojima kind of referencing his own legacy. This is okay, and we should be happy for him, and we should be supporting him. It's okay to love Death Stranding and Metal Gear still. And that's kind of what my point is to embrace both the mother and the father of Metal Gear. If they separated, that's fine. Let them enjoy their lives and be happy. If you're somebody who had a divorcing parenting, then you should love both of them equally. Let them be happy in their lives. That's the goal, right? Have a good time as best as possible. And this stuff with Death Stranding you're watching looks phenomenal, guys. The weather dynamics, the environment, all of the different vehicles and different ways to get around. We already know what to expect from the original, but you can tell they're adding tons of stuff to really make the game fun. The main thing I want to see is the Metal Gear portions, which they didn't do too many details as far as the gameplay Metal Gear infiltration parts, but they do have some details on it, and it makes it very fun and interesting. Kojima's taken the storytelling into another level with personalizing characters, even better, having these real life actors play a part in the series. And he wanted to do that for Metal Gear a ton, but Metal Gear was kind of trapped in creative space compared to Death Stranding. There is no limit to Death Stranding. With Metal Gear, you have to be careful. Don't put on famous actors to, showcase. So it's a different style of a game. So, but absolutely exciting times to see what's going on. And there's some gameplay elements, like I said, about boss fights and some of the mechanics and things that you're seeing in this one, where they kind of like, hey, we got some Metal Gear-ish type of stuff. We'll see where it goes and where does that lead us. But I'm super excited about it. And again, to kind of like close out that discord of that Kojima, and Konami drama. Honestly, I don't relate to it. I honestly have healed fully, and I'm just happy for Kojima to keep making games. I'm happy for Konami. I realize Kojima won't make Metal Gear forever, even if he wanted to. He won't live forever, so we have to be grateful for what he got now. And we got to be grateful for what's coming in the future. In this section here, you can see some type of combat. which I think is very cool. And I'm excited to see how much further they go with this. We proceed to explore. But yeah, so just to kind of wrap this up, take your time and enjoy both sides. This year, we're getting Metal Gear and Death Stranding in the same year. I think if you're a fan of Metal Gear, you should be happy about that and excited to play them. So this video is a tribute to Kojima, is a tribute to Death Stranding and Metal Gear all at the same time. Let's celebrate. Leave in the comments what got you most excited for both of these games. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you leave a like and comment if it was intriguing and interesting, so that I could also select some winners for the giveaway. We're going to be doing giveaways soon because guess what? The game is right around the corner. It's not that far. All right. See you in the comments, y'all. Stay safe.